Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Had a bit of problems with my audio, so I'm going to do this with an overlay to the video. Going to get back to painting the tracks of the IS2. As you can see in front of us, I've got some of the tracks in various states. Let's see here. We've got the first one. What we got here. This is how we're going to start off. It's just going to be in a basic brown. And really, you can just shoot any kind of brown. It's just a base color and something to work with. I used Tamiya brown. And then from there, on the Tamiya brown, what we're going to do is we're just going to really just dab and splodge a lot of three different shades of acrylics. There's going to be a dark red, kind of a red leather, and there's going to be a deep orange, and oddly enough, a bit of khaki. So we'll get those on. And then finally, what we'll do is once the acrylics are dry, we'll hit it with an enamel wash. I use a raw umber and mineral spirits, and I just hit that. Kind of evens everything out, and it's not as stark. It still gives you that deep rust that these tracks would have had. So we'll take a look at that. We'll do it. And hopefully we'll bring it up here and get that in front of you a bit closer to see what it looks like. But I think it's an effective way to do it. It really works. Also works on vinyl tracks too. So what we've got here is this is the track. It's been prepped and just in brown. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use some really washed out and watery acrylics to get the effect we need. We're going to start off with a bit of the red leather. I think the red leather is a mid color, but all the manufacturers in acrylics seem to make a red leather, and it's a good start. So we'll see what happens here. I'll get the brush ready. I'll get the paints out, and we'll just start dabbing it on there. And you don't have to be. Doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, the sloppier it is, the better it is, because the rust is going to be somewhat random on these tracks. Really, all tracks. You don't want anything too uniform. You also don't want it too opaque. So you really want to water it down. So you've got the watering down, and you're just gonna work it into the track. The beauty of painting it, the track's brown. Even if it doesn't get into all the nooks and crannies of the track, you've got a base color of brown, which really is a rust color if you think about it. So we'll get both sides done here. I'll just let the video play out, and I'll chime in when we get to the different colors. And again, is watery as the red leather or the dark red is, the easier it is to spread around. Takes a little bit longer to dry, but it also helps with a bit of wet blending when you put the other colors on top of it. And you'll see I've got a number of chapters or a number of segments for this video. You'll see how it all plays out. In the beginning, it looks a bit garish. But once it dries, once it all blends together, you'll end up with a color you like, and then you can hit it with the enamel wash, with the oil wash with mineral spirits. So we're gonna just do a bit more with the dark red or the red leather, and then we'll move over into the bright orange, or the darker orange, just to give it a bit of contrast. And again, the same idea. You want it watery, and you just want to get it spread around. Here we go with the orange. Again, we're going to do a bit of wet blending, and the colors will just kind of blend in together, and we'll get some tonal variation, because really on the tracks with this IS2, it's just going to be a big green tank. So with the tracks, this kind of multicolor, it'll really stand out. We'll get the fenders tore up on the tank, and you'll really be able to see the tracks. So this really is kind of a multi-step progress. You want to shoot the tracks with just the brown, then you want to hit it with the watery acrylics, and then when everything dries, what we're going to do is, and here we go with the khaki, and I realize the khaki looks kind of funky at the moment, but that will tone down. So once we get these colors on, we'll wait for them to dry, and we will then come by, because the IS2 had metal roll wheels, steel road wheels. These tracks with steel, single pin, they're dead tracks, and the metal on metal would polish the contact points on the track, plus the on the inside of the track, plus the track itself, the contact points would be a bit wore off that are actually touching the ground. Thing that I like about using kind of an off color like this, these tracks would have been Berlin, 1945. They'd have run over a lot of different things, grit in the road, bricks, concrete, all kinds of stuff. So they would be colors other than the rust colors ground into them. So if it gets too garish for you, as far as the way you're applying it, you can always add more water to it, and that will even it out. So we'll see how we're doing here. I'm going to flip it around. The bottom of the tracks, you can do as much or as little as you want, unless you're going to go to an IPMS contest, or where they're going to pick up vehicles, or your vehicle is going to be displayed with the tracks up. I don't really worry about the bottom run too much. But as you can see here, it looks pretty garish. I guarantee you when it all dries up and we hit it with the enamel wash, I think you'll be pleased with the results. And then from the enamel wash, we'll use the silver. That's not silver; it's steel from Revell, which I picked up at a show here, a couple years ago. So you can see the multicolor there. It's gonna look good. It's gonna show a bit of wear. I've got the dog's approval in the background if you can hear them. But this is what it'll look like once the enamel wash has been put on it. You can see a lot of the it's been toned down a bit. It all kind of blends together, but I think it'll look good. The next segment I'm going to make is when we actually hit it with the steel, and that'll look good. Here's one that's in the process of drying. This was one single track piece. My cat got a hold of it and broke it, so I ended up having to do this in two pieces. So let me know what you think in the comments, whether you think this is something you'd like to do. This is also great for vinyl tracks. This works on vinyl tracks. It also works on link and length. The thing I like about doing this on link and length is you can do it right on the sprue, and it makes it so much easier. So once it's off the sprue, you just cut it, you clean it up, and you assemble it right on the vehicle. So we'll see what happens here. We just should be finishing up. It's one of my first times doing the audio afterwards. I had some problems with the initial recording. So let me see what I'm going to show you here. Yep, that's the other piece. And again, just showing you what it looks like. That's before I do the silver work on it. You guys take care, and I will see you in the next segment.